Secretary of State John Kerry is expressing regret over a diplomatic spat that is raising tensions from New York to New Delhi. It all began when US officials arrested an Indian Deputy Consul General for visa fraud. Now, Devyani Khobragade was detained and then strip-searched. She's accused of falsifying documents to obtain a work visa for her female housekeeper. Well, it's also alleged that Khobragade paid the woman for far below the minimum wage, while her lawyer says she is entitled to diplomatic immunity. The State Department says that immunity doesn't cover this type of crime. Meanwhile, Indian officials are reacting with concern.
The manner in which the facts have been described to me would have given me a choice between choosing it to be a conspiracy or choosing it to be an irrational behavior. So whichever label you want to choose, but it is something that in normal course one would not expect with a country that is wedded to rule of law and wedded to democracy.
Well, there's been widespread anger in India over her treatment while in custody, while with protests in the streets. Malika Kapoor with the latest on the diplomatic retaliations.
India is still seething at the treatment given to Devyani Khobragade, one of its diplomats in New York. The Indian Prime Minister called it deplorable. India says its priority is to bring her back to India and will do whatever possible to make that happen. As a first step, it's moved her to the permanent mission of India at the United Nations, where they hope she'll be given full diplomatic immunity. At the consulate where she worked, she only had limited immunity. By getting greater immunity, Indian officials hope she will not be arrested again, preventing any further humiliation or embarrassment. Meanwhile, authorities here in India have retaliated by asking staff members at US consulates to give up their identity passes, essentially stripping them of certain diplomatic privileges like access to airports. They've also removed concrete barriers that were placed right here outside the gates of the US Embassy, with local officials saying that they had been placed here more as a gesture of courtesy to the US Embassy and that it was never a diplomatic requirement. India, however, insists it is not scaling back security when it comes to any US diplomats in India and that they remain as safe as ever. Malika Kapoor, CNN.